Hey, it's Nina Madden here. How are you? Thank you so much for checking in. I'm super excited about sharing this content with you. So, I'm a master coach and a therapist and a healer, and I've been in private practice in High Street, Kensington for over 12 years now. And I'm also an internationally accredited trainer of NLP, life coaching, and hypnosis. And I help people who are frustrated and bored in their careers and who really want a career with meaning and purpose to retrain and qualify so that they can become therapists and coaches and healers without having to go back to university and to study psychology for years. And our programs are all accredited and approved. Now, I think that we really are at the most happy in life. I think a lot of suffering and pain comes from not having a meaningful existence. So I think that having meaning in life, having meaning in what we do, is a really important part of how we are functioning as human beings and how we need to be happy, and also about fulfilling our purpose. And the third thing I think, which is really important, is this thing of contributing and giving back to the world. Obviously, I'm really happy and I love what I do, right? I've been doing it for 12 years, but my life was not always like this. 12 years ago, it was very, very different. And I was in a very dark and lost place. I was working as a temp in the city, filing papers for old men with gray hair in suits, and I absolutely hated it. And I was so lost and I was so confused, and I was looking for what I wanted to do, and I'd considered psychology and I'd considered counseling, but something didn't really sit right with me. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was in a really dark place. I was kind of searching around for ideas, and I'd come up with ideas like maybe I should go and volunteer in Africa, or maybe I should become a teacher, or but nothing really came of anything. And eventually I was getting feeling like such a failure that I stopped even sharing my ideas with people because I just felt so ashamed. I felt like I'd become one of these people who just talked about things and nothing ever happened, right? And one day I was on the tube, and it was in a cold February morning, and I was reading in the metro, and there was an ad there that just said, be who you want to be. And that really was like a knife in my heart, because this was really the issue. I was not the person that I wanted to be. Like, I thought that I would have become someone by now, right? And I just felt like such a failure. I was not the person I wanted to be, and I was not living the life that I wanted to live. I didn't really know what this thing was, but I went along, and it turned out to be a life coaching seminar, which was held at the back of Oxford Street. And nobody really knew what life coaching was back then, but I went along anyway. And I listened to this lady talk from the front, and she was saying things like, it's not about your past, and it's not about what's happened to you that matters. And she was saying that, we all have this beautiful gift inside of us, and that everybody has something special. And it's not about, you're not a product of your past, that we all have the resources within us to make the changes and to become who we want to be. And all it is, it's about finding someone who can help you access those resources so you can design a life that is a true reflection of who you are and who you're going to become. And I was floored. Like, I was like, oh my God, this was the first time I'd actually heard anyone speak like this. And it really struck a chord with me. And she was also reading out so she read out a testimonial as well from one of the clients that she'd helped. And she'd helped this lady lose weight. But the testimonial that she was reading out was going on and on about how this woman had changed her life completely, how she felt so much better about herself. Yes, she's lost all the weight, but also how she had so much more confidence, how she'd applied for a new job, how she'd going out in the evening, how she was traveling, how she was pushing herself outside of her comfort zone. And I was like, oh my God, I want people to write testimonials like that to me. I want to be important like that. And that, it just completely captivated me. So, I just decided that's what I was going to be. back then, you know, life coaching, like people would laugh at you if you said life coaching. Right now things have completely changed and it's really respected these days. But what that was, you know, that wasn't just life coaching, that was also NLP, and there was some other stuff in that too. So I started like learning everything I could. I started reading all the books, but I really wanted to train. So I figured out that you could, I didn't have any money at the time, right? So I was working as a temp in the city, right? I was £280 a week, and that had to cover my rent and my groceries and my travel and everything. I had zero left over. So I figured out that you could get these credit cards, and you could get a 0 interest rate credit card, and you can have that for 6 months. So I applied for these credit cards, and I put all the training on there, and I qualified as a life coach, as an NLP master practitioner, NLP practitioner, hypnosis, all this stuff. And within a year, I had my own private practice in High Street, Kensington, and I had my own clients, and I was getting my own testimonials, and I was living the life that I had envisioned. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm nothing special, right? And one of my first customers, I just remember this woman. She was such a beautiful, amazing woman. Her dream was to set up a home for pregnant teenagers. And we worked together on this. I worked with her for 9 months to develop this idea. She was such an amazing woman. Her story was that she had been pregnant with her daughter when she was 16, and her parents had kicked her out. So she had to fend for herself. And her vision was to help other people like herself to become good moms so that they could have good relationships with their children and give them life skills and create this home for teenagers. And it was such a beautiful dream, and we worked so hard together on it, and she won an award by the Princess Trust, and the testimonial that she gave me was amazing, you know, to be part of that, and to believe in her dream, and to see how believing in her dream and using all these tools and skills and techniques to help her achieve this thing was just absolutely amazing. It was such a reward. So then, you know, I have all my own clients. I've been doing it for a long time. And then people asked me to start teaching. And I really wanted to help others to be able to help people in this way, because this isn't about psychology. It's not about counseling. It's not about psychotherapy, right? It's a completely different approach. It's a completely new methodology, and it's such a powerful one, and it just makes all the difference. So I designed the most beautiful, powerful training program to help my students to get to that level. So it equips you with all the skill sets that you need to really help your clients on a deep and profound level. And I worked so hard on it, and it is such a good program. And we have all the accolades. We've been accredited, we're recognized, we're registered, you can research all the details. But you get a certificate, you get an NLP practitioner certificate, you get a life coaching certificate, you get the NLP master practitioner certificate, registered by the ANLP, accredited by the ABNLP, endorsed by the ILM, which is Institute of Leadership and Management. You can join the ICF. So you're covered all over the world, basically. Now, whereas most coaching programs will just teach you the coaching like on the surface, right? Because I work with people that have had traumas, anxiety, depression, you know, really serious issues for 12 years. I also wanted to give you the skill set so that you can help your clients on a deep emotional level, because it's not just about achieving your goals. It's about being able to leave the baggage behind, to let go of it, to let go of pain and suffering and the kind of emotional reactions and triggers. And that's not a cognitive way. You need deep emotional unconscious tools to be able to do that, and I teach you that as well, so you'd be fully equipped to help people with self-sabotaging behavior, emotional reactions that just, you know, hijack them and take them over, all of that stuff, you know, triggers, anxieties, depressions, trauma, that whole thing as well. And the other thing is, I teach you some stuff that you don't get anywhere else. One of the most powerful tools that I've used, techniques, it's not really a technique to be honest. One of the most powerful things that I've used is the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is a powerful understanding of life through a different lens. It was developed by Joseph Campbell in the 50s. He was a professor of literature, wrote a beautiful book called A Hero with a Thousand Faces. And what it does is it completely flips the victim story. Because when you go to psychotherapy, when you go to, sort of old-fashioned type psychotherapy, it's very much about explaining your suffering today because of what happened to you in the past. And that actually makes you a victim of the past. Now, what the hero's journey does, it flips that completely on its head. Looking at Harry Potter, for example, he would never have gone off to wizard school if he hadn't had that horrible experience of living underneath the cupboard with the evil step-parents, right? The hero's journey is got several stages where you start as an orphan where nobody understands you. You're in the world of the mundane, which is safe and secure, but it's boring and it lacks passion. You get the call to adventure, which is probably where you are right now if you're watching this, to be honest. You call to something else. The world of the mundane can be your corporate job, the safe relationship that you want to leave, but it's scary. The call to adventure. Then you're on the threshold. You take the leap of faith. Then you're on your path of trials. And all the trials are there to make you become the person that you're meant to be, which is why that whole kind of thing, be who you want to be, is so pertinent and so relevant. It makes you the person you're supposed to become. Harry Potter can never defeat Voldemort if he stays locked underneath the cupboard. Who was it? Star Wars. He can never defeat Darth Vader if he stays in the world of the mundane. It's the same story. You have to take a leap of faith. You have to go on your adventure, and eventually you become strong enough as a person to defeat the big shadow in your life. So that's another addition that you get on the program as well. Now, who do I work with? Who qualifies for this, right? So don't worry if you're not very booky. You do not have to have a degree. Don't need to be very academic. It's not about that at all. What's important to me is that you really have a desire to live a life of meaning and purpose, because I really believe that happiness in life is really down to having a life of meaning and purpose. Viktor Frankl says, we can endure almost any suffering if we have a strong why. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor and a very enlightened psychologist, and he was observing, things that were happening in the concentration camps and stuff. And he said, if we have a big why for our lives, if we have meaning in our lives, we can endure almost anything. And so I love to work with people who want to have that meaning. You want to make people better. You want to help people. You want to transform your own life, but you also want to help people transform their lives. And the higher intention and the higher purpose of that is to help people be happy and free. And that makes the world a better place. So if you feel that connection, then reach out and book a call, right? So whereas other coaching programs also put like 100 people in the room, and I don't know how they manage to do that, how they can keep any quality control at all. I've created a very small, unique boutique experience where you're invited into my home initially, and we work together for 5 weeks, and there's limited enrollment, limited numbers on it, and only 4 programs per year. And it just really creates this unique experience where you can go through this personal transformation, but also make sure that you have all the support and attention that you need. And finally, well, probably not finally, but finally, whereas other coaching programs, it's like a factory. They just leave you. You go through 2 weeks and then you're out on your own. I don't work like that. So I've created this beautiful network of ambassadors for change. It's part of my family. You become part of the network and the ambassadors for change. So we have you have my mentorship and support for 12 months. But actually, it's not just 12 months. I never leave you. You're always part of this group now. And as my other students will tell you, I answer every single question that I get in terms of giving you support. I'll make a video on the question. You can ask me anything, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years after you've done the training with me. You can say, hey, Nina, I've got this client and, they're doing this and this. What would you do with that? And I will give you an extensive answer, and I tend to share the answer with the rest of the group as well. Now, you also get this huge knowledge bank where you have videos, demonstrations, and it's kind of me talking to camera like this, or it's a demonstration, and you will get access to that, and you become part of the Ambassador for Change program. But so really, if you want to have a life of meaning and purpose, and you want to help people and have a career and be successful and be independent and be an entrepreneur and help people and change lives whilst you change your own life and be completely free, then book a call. And I love to talk to you, and I'll talk through with you exactly what's expected, all the details, what you need to do. And even, if you're not sure, book a call too. That's fine too. If you're not right for the program, I'll be the first one to tell you. But I really think if you feel drawn to this, love to speak with you, and talk to you soon. Okay, bye.